From rising up as one of the best Fortnite players of all time,
get this man a map!
While being extremely toxic.
So let's go, bro. You suck.
To then getting blocked by almost everybody in the community.
What was it also like to be blocked by Courage?
Dude, I'm blocked by Ninja. I'm blocked by so many people. Cloaksy too. I don't know why I'm blocked by Cloaksy.
This is how Young Calculator became one of, if not the most hated Fortnite pro of all time. Jonathan Young Calculator Weber was born on February 25th, 2005. From a young age, he was surrounded constantly by video games, claiming he'd been playing games since he was born. And with that, it seems fitting that he found himself winning nearly $200,000 in earnings alone by the time he was 15 years old. Young Calc began playing Fortnite at age 12, after his brother talked him into trying out solo scrims with him. He quickly fell in love with the game, as most pros do, and found himself rising to the top of the leaderboards, playing in Step 1, Masters Tournament, and the FNPL Championship. Calc was desperate to have a chance to play against these pro players, so these scrim servers were his path to success, searching for every chance he had to fight pro players and show off his personality in the process. But early on in his career, he started to get a lot of backlash for his toxic behavior that actually got him blacklisted from the pro Discord solo snipes.
So back in the day, before open Fortnite tournaments, one of the only ways you get into tournaments was being in the pro Discord. And I was too young anyway, but I should have been in the pro Discord because I was really good back then. But I was blacklisted by the admins because I was too toxic, so they wouldn't let me in.
Solo snipes was a massive part of the scene during this time and allowed the pro players to practice with one another at a higher level than arena mode provided. There would be countdowns for the players to queue up together at the same time, and pros were constantly trading in there, but not Young Calculator. On top of this blacklisting, the age limit for official Fortnite tournaments was 16 years old at the time, meaning 13-year-old Young Calc missed out on tons of opportunities to earn money and get his name known within the community, simply because he was too young. To his credit, he never seemed to let this get to him though. During this time, and despite the initial setbacks, Young Calc continued to grind in the hopes of being good enough to compete when he was finally 16. He also used this time to stream, developing an audience that would eventually turn on him as his toxicity over the years grew into more and more of an issue. Eventually, in 2019, he was removed from the blacklist and allowed to join the Solo Snipes Discord, and he felt like this was the first time he realized that he could truly play competitively. And when Fortnite announced that they would let 13-year-olds compete for the first time in the Fortnite World Cup, Young Calculator realized that this was finally his time to prove himself to the world. And it was no small prize pool. Just for qualifying, you'd win at minimum $50,000, with an overall prize pool being set at $100 million. There was no question about it. Young Calc was going to do whatever it took to make sure he qualified and got his name out there. Calc began spending nearly 8 hours each and every day practicing, which was not an easy thing to do by any means because he was still in school. Somehow though, his mother allowed him to actually begin taking half days and leaving school early to practice for Fortnite tournaments. Not exactly the story you hear from most parents, but clearly his family really wanted to see him succeed at whatever he was doing, which at the time was professional Fortnite. Probably helped that she understood how big gaming could be due to his older brother, and Calc even says that his mom was one of the biggest reasons he got to where he is.
She's not gonna force her kids to do things that they don't want to do, and if I want to follow something, she'd let me follow it. I mean, she didn't even, I don't even think she understood like how lucrative it could be or how you could actually make a career out of esports. Either way, she was supportive of my interest in what I wanted to do.
Unsure that he'd qualify for the World Cup with his current duo partner, Young Calc made the decision to join Macwood late into the season. It was a risky decision, leaving them with only 5 days until the tournament started, but they were locked in. They were grinding out those 5 days to become a super great duo, making the risk 100% worth it. Together, Macwood and him practiced 12 hours a day for those 5 days leading up to the start of the World Cup. Finally, it rolled around to the actual start of the qualifying process, and they were hopeful, but of course nervous. Every time they won, he'd worry that they didn't have enough points, but they kept on winning.
Ripped it again, he's lasered.
Just use Chuck Smashers for HP. Nice. Told you.
And winning.
Yes, dude. How many?
And finally,
He's 1 HP. Let's go, dude. What was that? So that's...
Endings are right now on Fortnite.
Okay.
Let's go. Hey, get ready. Hey, put him on desktop.
Let's go! Let's go!
with the qualification secured, this meant that he was guaranteed at least $50,000. Finally, after all the hours spent grinding and all of the missed school, it seemed to pay off. His mom might not have believed him at first, but it was official. Young Calc and Macwood had qualified. They were going to New York, and they were ready to win.
Might win more. Minimum 75,000.
5 million maximum.
We're going to New York City for the event.
Alright.
Together with Macwood in New York City, they wouldn't exactly win, but they did place a respectable 16th place, which you couldn't hate on at all. They had each earned more money than they probably would have ever expected, and it was only up from here for both of their careers. At least it should have been. At only 14 years old, Calc had earned himself upwards of $100,000 just from Fortnite earnings, but his personality would get the best of him and quickly land him in some controversy. Despite his continued tournament wins, and despite earning nearly $200,000 over the course of his career, young Calc will forever be plagued by all of his controversies. The community as a whole was beginning to recognize this, and public opinion began to shift away from the story of a young kid doing incredible things in Fortnite, and instead, they saw a young kid that was saying things he shouldn't and hurting people in the process. These statements typically took place first on Twitter, many of these which he continues to defend despite the backlash. To him, they're just simply funny jokes that people often take too seriously.
I mean, back in the day, I just tweeted whatever I thought would be super funny, and I think a lot of things I tweeted were really funny. I think one tweet that's more recent is the livestock tweet, and I like where I said like, why can't you have livestock? I mean, that's just a paraphrase, but I thought it was funny because the way I set up the joke and phrased it, I thought it was funny, and I still think it's funny, and people overreacted to it because they thought I was serious. I'm not serious about that. The only livestock I would ever think about having with, there's those people who cared about it's mothers.
And to some extent, edgy humor of course does have an audience, but often it was hard to understand where the line was with Calc's Twitter, and he said a lot of questionable things. Many of the jokes that were made might have been looked at under a heavier lens because of his controversial personality, but sometimes the backlash seemed more than justified.
I'm not gonna disagree. I think that my tweets have definitely costed me a lot of money and a lot of opportunities, and if I could go back and change it, I probably would. I probably wouldn't have tweeted all of those things, and I probably wouldn't have said my mind all the time, but I think that's what made me so different from other people is that I did. And obviously in the future, I probably won't do the same stuff, and I'll probably only make those kinds of jokes behind closed doors because obviously brands don't want to be associated with that kind of stuff. Do I think that it's stupid? 100%. I think that it's really stupid that people, and brands more specifically, I mean, they can make choices on who they want to associate with, but I don't think that anything I tweeted was ever severe enough or controversial enough to like actually warrant the amount of hate it got.
On August 29th, 2020, it was announced that Chadwick Boseman, who played the Black Panther, had died after struggling with his health for many years. This was a significant death for many people, as the movie was widely loved and Boseman was only just 43 years old. However, during a scrim, young Calc heard the news and promptly decided to tweet out, "So no Black Panther 2, WTF." Quickly met with tons of hate, Calc removed the tweet in hopes of preventing more backlash, but he wasn't fast enough, because Faye Sway posted a screenshot of the deleted tweet saying cringe in response. Sway doing this made tons more people see Calc's tweet, and a new wave of hate swept over young Calc, so much that he posted not one, but 2 different apology tweets. Despite all his claims of his tweets being jokes, people couldn't even take his apology seriously. It seemed that Calc realizes his mistake and agrees that this one tweet he probably took too far.
I think the only tweet that I ever made that I think was genuinely just insensitive and stupid was the Black Panther tweet. And that was not even me trying to make a joke out of it.
That was
okay?
Bad.
Believe
that
it or
bad.
not.
I wasn't going to say
it. It was bad. It was bad.
I wasn't going to say
listen, I can take accountability for my mistakes. I was in a scrim when I tweeted it. And I was just in shock because I really like that movie. Lots of other people like that movie. And it wasn't meant to be a joke. And people obviously wouldn't believe that and they didn't buy it. But even if it wasn't meant to be a joke, it was still insensitive and stuff like that. So obviously I think that was a big mistake.
Another common complaint against him comes in form of his rage. Young Calc has seemingly endless amounts of clips of him raging at the game, but one got a bit more attention because of what he specifically was saying. After one of Calc's streams, a tweet went up of this clip and was calling out young Calc for his language against another player.
Bro, he was on controller, you freak. You freak, dude. He was literally, like, bro, he literally was running at me while shooting way too fast to be on keyboard and mouse. Like, you're literally just dumb. Like, people like you. I don't understand how people like you exist. Like, how were you raised by your parents? It just makes me want to end my stream. I was having a good stream. I was literally vibing. And then that kid sent his over to my stream, and he literally just ruined it. Like, what?
It was later discovered that this player was actually on keyboard and mouse, which makes this rage just 10 times more funny. With the increasing number of controversies, it becomes easier to believe why certain companies and bigger players such as Ninja and Courage have blocked him entirely. He wasn't a fun person to play against, letting his competitive nature and his desire to say whatever he found funny get the better of him in most all situations. But what we've talked about so far isn't even the worst of it, because one of the biggest controversies tied with Young Calc is surrounding the Nerd Out $25,000 tournament. This was the one that people now turn to when asked about what happened with Young Calc, or why exactly everyone hates him. So what happened? The music group Nerd Out came together to host a summer series of tournaments for Fortnite, and after qualifying for the Fortnite World Cup, Calc was of course invited to compete, ending up in 18th place, which wasn't too bad at all. Placing higher would have been nice, but truly nothing to complain about. But oddly enough, to a ton of fan surprise, right after the tournament ended, Nerd Out tweeted that Calc would no longer be welcome in their future tournaments. Their words, "Be respectful to your host and fellow players," gave space for people to speculate on what caused him to be banned specifically, but clearly he had said or done something that offended one of his competitors as per usual. The major allegation against Calc was one stating that he made fun of Ewok, a deaf pro Fortnite player, while different variations on what he said and did and where he did it were never confirmed. The community was not gonna let this slide, especially after all the other controversies. Calc continues to deny that these allegations ever happened, but the damage was clearly done and connections were being lost left and right. Young Calc, even with the whole community turning on him, continued to compete in tournaments into early 2021, when he tweeted that he wanted to quit Fortnite. This didn't come as a surprise to many who were following him, but the big surprise came when he later tweeted that he wanted to look into the Valorant pro scene instead. This decision was once again, as you might expect, met with backlash. Many of the competitive Valorant fans found themselves concerned about someone as toxic as Calc joining their community and what that would look like. Some even claimed that he had already been throwing games in Valorant prior to this tweet, so it was hard to believe that any of these tweets were sincere. Ignoring the community though, once again, Calc jumped into pro Valorant. However, he struggled to find any real success with the new game. Many of the fans who supported him before didn't want to follow him to a new game, and Calc found himself unable to reach the same stream numbers or fans that he once had. But more recently, it does seem like Young Calc is beginning to try to shift both his content and his attitude. Perhaps being a bit older and forced off games by community hate and lack of viewership allowed him the time to self-reflect. Although, it does seem like he continues to fight off the part of him that wants to compete to the full extent of his abilities. And it'll be interesting to see how that develops as Valve's newest game Deadlock continues to grow, which Calc has actually been posting some YouTube videos on recently. Aren't exactly doing great compared to how his old Fortnite videos did a few years back, but it's a fresh start. Who knows, maybe Young Calc will be one of the members of a Deadlock esports team when it's more established and find another wave of success. If you did make it to this point of the video, make sure to subscribe and click one of the videos that just popped up next to me. I'm sure you'll love it. Peace out.